Hey folks, while I'm holding this guitar, I know I had this for the last video, but I just thought of something I wanted to talk about. This is something definitely true of the bowed string instrument field that I came from. I used to sell for many years high-end violins, cellos, double basses, violas, anything with bowed strings, often to people that played in symphonies that wanted high-end, professional-grade instruments. And I learned very quickly that age improves sound of a stringed instrument. Often a new instrument has to play in. I can't explain the physical reasons for that other than, the reverberations of playing the guitar or whatever instrument you're playing somehow softens up or loosens the vibratory qualities in whatever wood it's ringing through. Now with a beautiful concert grade violin or cello, that would be a spruce top, of course. I mean, you don't see much variation in top wood in the orchestral world. It's almost always spruce on the top of those instruments. And a lot of professionals look for older instruments. Obviously, the 16th, 17th century vintage Italian, German, even English, French instruments cost thousands, if not into the millions. And it's sort of like, in that world, it's sort of like finding your 53 Les Paul or Stratocaster, those are the holy grails of that particular world. Obviously, most players, even professional orchestral players, cannot afford or do not have a sponsor to buy anything of that vintage. So they look in the next class, your $20,000 to $50,000 instrument, which is still a professional investment and a top grade orchestra quality instrument or chamber group quality instrument, but perhaps not quite the level of your Deganis, your Stradivari's, your Magginis, that kind of stuff. But just good quality 19th century, 19th, 20th century instruments made by German makers from Manukirchen and other places, 20th century French, or even more contemporary Italian makers that you can get in that price range. And then if you can't afford that, then you're looking, of course, in the 5,000 to 10,000 range. But still, you want something that's played in or that you can play in. A lot of times, I've played a cello off the rack that just came straight from the manufacturer. For instance, we used to, the shop I used to work with, we used to distribute Goranek cellos, which are nice handmade cellos made in Eastern Europe. And a lot of times they would sit on the rack and I would play them every day, and I'd notice after a week or two a fullness, sonic quality slowly blooming and developing as the more I played it. And this is really the wood opening up, the top opening up, the reverberations sort of swelling around the instrument yielding more tone, more power, more sonic qualities the more you played it. And it's not quite as stark with commercial grade guitars, but you still have it. This guitar came to me I don't know, about a month ago. It's a solid spruce top and black walnut classical guitar. When I first set it up and played it, I was a bit disappointed. It was tight. It wasn't as full. In fact, the cheaper classicals I had at the time sounded better. For a solid spruce top, I didn't think it quite had the sonic range that it should have. But I've played it. I had it on a stand by my thoroughfare where I walk every day, and I pick it up all the time and I play it. And it's starting to open up. I'm starting to hear more depth in the sound. It needed to be played. It's never been owned. It's never been played. And I just thought I should do a video to remind you of that. When you buy a new guitar on Amazon or from your guitar shop, the more you play it, the better it's going to sound. If it's well made, if it has good woods, particularly if it's a solid wood instrument. But even with some play tops, I've noticed this as well. Things play in. And after a while of playing it, you get an improvement, particularly on solid spruce and solid cedar topped instruments. There's an opening up. Sometimes it doesn't flower like you want it to, but a lot of times it does, or at least it improves. It sounds fuller in time. And I try to tell this to people who buy these new instruments from me. Play it, you'll hear an improvement. Put your favorite brand of strings on it and play the hell out of it. And you'll hear it open up. It will slowly develop a fuller, more reverberating sound. So this is an important thing that we need to stress. And a good reason why a lot of people buy used instruments. I like buying used guitars. I like guitars that are played in, that you have more of an idea of what they're going to do when you buy them used. When you buy them new, there's always sort of like a break-in period. And when you first strum or play the new guitar, you're not quite sure of what the full development's going to be of the instrument. So I always tell customers that this is a new guitar, this is the way it sounds now. If you play it a lot, if you cradle it and make it yours and touch it and play it every day, God, that sounds a bit hypersexual, doesn't it? It will improve, it will yield more tone. And that's just the case with instruments. I've seen it time and time and time again. So I thought it was an important thing to make a video about, since I've never talked about it before. But new instruments need time, new wood, new milled wood and new joined wood needs time to settle down. It needs time to settle down in your time zone, in your particular atmospheric situation. And then play it a lot, and you'll hear a difference in sound as you play it and become accustomed to it. And as the guitar sort of plays in, warms up, opens up in a way. So there you go. I'm going to keep playing this because it sounds better than when I set it up a 3 weeks ago. And I suspect if I keep playing it, if it doesn't sell, it'll sound even better. All right, folks. See you next time.